Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of Mage AOE grind. First of all, thank you so much everyone for subscribing to my YouTube, but also checking out my guide and stuff, and also thank you to people who went to my Twitch, followed and subbed as well. It's amazing all the support I've got recently. Alright, so here are some of the things I'm gonna talk about today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is teamviewer. Teamviewer is an app you can download on your phone, and this will let you control your computer when you're not near it. So with this teamviewer you can actually access your computer and put yourself in a queue before you get home from work or school. That way you don't have to sit 2-4 hours in queue when you're finally home. Alright, the next thing is dungeons versus solo AOE leveling. I did a few dungeons on my way to 60. And I found it really useful, especially when there was a lot of people competing against the same areas as I did. I also tried to track the experience I gained, and it was pretty much the same as if I did it by myself. I've put together a screenshot of some of the spells I'm skipping while I level. This is to make sure I can actually afford my mount at 40, but also buy gear upgrades on auction house. And now I'm gonna talk about my 1 to 22 guide. It's completely free and will be in the description below the video. The guide will let you do 1 to 22 pretty fast, probably in 12-13 hours. It will also let you do a lot of quests that reward really useful items for AOE farming. Please remember it's alliance only though. The next thing we're gonna talk about is AOE spots. Between 24 and 27 you guys seem to like spots, that's why Ravenhill is actually really useful. You can do a lot of skeletons here, or ghouls, which can be found here in the cave. Actually I would recommend you do it to 28 before you go to the walkings. I found that way better, because else they're most likely gonna resist a bit. In my previous guide there's some certain levels you can go to areas, but I actually recommend you maybe sometimes stay there one more level before you go to the next area. Also to make it easier for you, especially if you lack gear or spells. If there's other mages AOE farming at your spot, either try to ask them for grouping or do dungeons, because if you try to compete against the same spot as the other mage, then you'll slow him down, but you'll also slow yourself down, because he's gonna stay there for a longer time. In case you have these problems, please skip to layers, that will explain you what to do in case there's a lot of mages farming your spot. AOE pools. When it comes to AOE pools, we're gonna talk about low level AOE pools versus high level AOE pools. At level 40 you can buy your mount. This is 90 or 100 gold, it depends on your reputation. If you're honored, it's 90 gold. So the whole idea of having the mount is to run around fast, pick up all monsters and stack them together. If you want to make sure they're really stacked, you can ice block, sit there 10 seconds, get a few mana ticks, and then you thrust over, blink away, and start your blizzard rotation. I often start with rank 1 blizzard just to make sure I get the slow effect, then a few ticks after I'm swapping to the highest rank and start doing damage. In the clip you see me stand still and wait for the monsters to get really close. The whole idea of waiting for them is to thrust over and to make sure leeway don't kick in, because if they can move and I move, we are close to each other, then they're gonna have leeway that makes them able to hit me from very far away. In this clip you see one of the monsters resist thrust over. What you can do here is blink array and just reset the fight, or you can use cold snap, try to re-thrust over, or your second option is to ice barrier. This is a 40 spell though, but it absorbs damage. You can actually use your rank 1 blizzard to just keep the other monsters slow for a bit, wait for a new thrust over, and then you try again. I talked about leeway before, and if you were in motion and they were in motion, then they would actually have this extra range. But if you backpedal, then this won't trigger it, and you can actually move a little bit. I'm always trying to move to the left or to the right at my second thrust over. It's because from the first over to the second they're in a line. We're gonna try to stack them up together, or we won't do damage to all of them. This is a handy tool for some of you. I find it really useful. So I place my first blizzard and I make my second blizzard ready. That way I can actually see this green line and find out how far they have moved in the first Blizzard. At low level, it's the exact same thing as high level. You try to stack them up, Frostnover and Blizzard. At lower level you can't do those massive pulls though, because you don't have your mount. But like if you're planning to do a massive pull, make sure you have your ice block ready, because that way you can stack them way easier. Second last thing I'm gonna talk about is talents, and what I did at each level. Elemental Precision is a must, because 6% hit is really huge. That way mobs will resist way less when you use your Frostnover, and that way you can actually get some distance. Frost warding is optional, like you can go for 2 times improved Frostbolt as well. It's not that huge, to be honest. Next I go for improved Frostnover or Permafrost. It doesn't really matter what you go for first. Once you have like done maxed out this, and this, you're ready to go for improved Blizzard. That's at 20, you can start to go for improved Blizzard. At 22, you have maxed this out, and 23, you're ready to go for Cold Snap. Cold Snap is an awesome spell, because in case they resist your first Frostnover, then you can use Cold Snap and re-Frostnover. Then I go 1 point into Piercing Eyes, and now we unlock this down here. Here I go for Frost Channeling, because I like to actually cast Blizzard with less mana cost. And then after I go with 4 Arctic Reach. When we have maxed this out, and go for Ice Block at 30, really awesome spell. Then I went for 2 more points into Piercing Eyes, went for improved Bone of Cold, and then I went into Ice Shards. Here you can go for Ice Shards or Shatter, it doesn't really matter. In previous video I went for Winter's Chill. That is not a good decision. It was like a rookie mistake. So like, you go for one of this, max it out. And then at 40 you get Ice Barrier. Now at 41 you have options to like max out the other one. Or what I did was to go into Arcane instead. So I went into here to have like reduce your target's resistance. These 2 talents are not really a huge deal, but go for the resistance in case you want to cheat. Next we go into Arcane Concentration. This gives you a 10% chance to proc Clear Casting. Clear Casting can proc off every spell, like using rank 1 Frostnover, using rank 1 Cone of Cold, Blizzard gives you a chance to proc this. And when you get Clear Casting proc, you simply go for the max rank, because it's free casting. Layers. Layers means you have different layers of the same zone. Like, you could have a friend you can't see each other, but the moment you invite each other, you're gonna be in the same layer. Like, in case there's PvP going on the zone is like really contested by other mages, you can swap layer and you might find a great spot. Anyway, this is it for me today. I hope you liked the guide and you found some useful information. And to those of you who wonder where I play on Razor Gore Europe as a mage called Fake.